Welcome to Bitcoin Billionaire. Today we are talking about the psychology of trading and investing. All right, welcome everybody. Very happy to be here with you. How to 100x without losing money plus free money. Join Bitcoin Billionaire. All right, welcome everyone. Very excited to be here. I made a survey on my Telegram group and people said they wanted to learn about different things. So one of the things that we made a decision is to learn about the psychology. I will start off by saying that 80% of success is psychology and only 20% is the mechanics of it. So let's jump into this presentation, the psychology of trading and investing. As I go through here, feel free to make some comments. By the way, make sure you subscribe to our channel because if you haven't participated in it yet, in the next one, we are giving a free giveaway which is $70 in case you're not aware of it. So why is this right here? So yeah, we're giving $70 away on Thursday. Subscribe to our channel if you'd like to participate in that. And we'll be coming back to that on Thursday. Okay. Today there is no giveaway. Today we are just teaching you, okay, how to invest. So right. So the first thing I want to talk about tonight is the key number one, which is to manage your emotions, which should be obvious that when we talk about the psychology of trading and investing, the biggest problems that people have is they have the really like bouncing up and down in the different states that they're in. And so what I mean by that is that we have to basically understand fear. And when I say fear, I always teach that there are two states to live by. You could live in a beautiful state, like you're happy, right? Or you could live in a suffering state. It really depends on to the type of state that you're in, yeah? So a lot of times, because people are in a suffering state, and I made a video about that. If you go to our page, hold on a second, go back there. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that tonight because last time we made a video about that, and many people already watched it, called Avoid the Limbic Brain. Right here, if you can see that, right? The limbic brain. And the reason that's important is because, go back to my presentation here. When we are in the limbic brain, what happens is that we often sell too quick. And we sell very fast when we get afraid. Because the brain is like, you have two brains. You have the prefrontal cortex, and then you have the limbic system, which is in the back of the brain here, which is a fight or flight response. Think about it like, you know, maybe you see an animal, a bear or a dog barking at you, whatever it is, and you get scared, so you move away from that dog because you're in a fight or flight response. So it's the same thing with trading, and what that means is you got to be managing your fear very well. I always tell people that one of the reasons people buy high and sell low is because when the price goes down, people get afraid. Okay, welcome guys. Welcome, Renai. Welcome back. Because they get afraid, and as a result of being afraid, they react and they sell at the wrong price. You should never buy high and sell low. You should always buy low and sell high, right guys? So got to really manage that fear. So part of the psychology of trading is to really not trading when you're afraid. Like you should be trading on logic, not emotion. And also to manage the greed, right? Because so many times people get greedy and they should be selling, but they don't. Okay? And the reason they don't sell is because they want to make more money. So they don't follow the plan. They don't follow the logic. So we don't make sure that we don't fall into the fear or greed of it, which means that, in fact, like we have to understand this concept that the more emotion we have, the more stupid we become. In essence, that's really what I'm saying, right? Like fear is an emotion, greed is an emotion. Like if you just follow the logical plan, you wouldn't make a bad decision, which is stupidity, right? So you got to be very careful about that part because this is where a lot of people fall short. I mean, and if you think it's hard with small amount, imagine waking up one day and you lost, 50,000 US because you're in big amounts of money and it goes down And then you wake up and you see, holy shit, I lost 50,000 because it went down 10%. Like many of you want to have $1 million, right? And it goes down 10% at $1 million, you just lost 100,000. How do you feel? Wow, you're not, the first time I lost that much money, I can tell you that it was pretty scary. And I certainly wanted to sell. So that fear, but I didn't. See, that's the key. I did not sell. I will talk to you about why I did not sell, right? Yeah, I mean, possibly. He asking me if I think it's going to go to 300K. I think that's definitely on the high end. And Bitcoin is at a higher risk right now, which we'll talk about tonight. Okay, so let's go back into this, guys, a little bit here. So we want to manage our greed. This is a too obvious thing. Okay, key number 2, setting rules. Rules is the key, guys, to trading, okay? Because like these questions that you're asking me, right? Do I think Bitcoin, like they're not about rules. They're about price predictions. So is there a difference between price prediction and rules? There's a big difference. Let me explain to you what I mean. Okay, so you want to talk about like when you lose, you have to learn from it. So many of you have invested and you didn't have good rules, so you lost money. Anytime that people lose money, it's because they did not have any rules. Does that make sense? Like if you had some rules, then you wouldn't be losing money. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that losing money means you did not have any rules. Okay, does that make sense to you? Right? So you want to be aware, right, that losing money means that you don't have some rules. Okay, let me try something different here. Hold on a second, guys. All right, because I want to see it. I want you guys to see my apology here. Right? Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. Right, is this making sense to have rules, guys? I know I'm kind of moving a little bit here just so you can see, right? So we want to be careful, guys, that we are trading without knowing the rules. So if somebody, think of it this way, right? If somebody is successful, what are the rules they follow for trading? And so that's what we want to talk about, some of the rules, okay? Success in trading is about logical rules. By logical rules, I mean that it's logic, it's not emotion, okay? So 80% of success in trading is logic. And whenever the brain is overpowered by fear or greed, then what happens is we don't follow the rules. That's basically what it means, right? So examples of trading rule number 1, don't lose money, right? It sounds like a simple rule, but it's the truth, right? And remember, the only way with Bitcoin, and I've always said that, is people can lose money, is if they sell. Like if you hold Bitcoin for 5 years, you're not going to lose. So when you freak out and you react, and let's say that it goes down, right? And you sell, then you lost money. If you just hold it, will you lose money? No, because as we all know, like, is Bitcoin going to be $1 million someday? So the only way you could lose money investing in Bitcoin is that if you sell. If you invest in altcoins, that's a different story, right? Okay, only trade from a beautiful state. Don't trade from a suffering state. Right, and this person says true. Okay. Highs on my end is usually at the early morning. Sleeping while the market rocket sucks. Well, that's why I have alarms. If I'm at a typical risk level, okay, which will come back, because he's talking about risk. And if you're at a high risk level, you should be aware of what the price is 24 hours per day. Okay, we'll come back to that. Only trade from a beautiful state. Don't trade from fear. Don't trade from a frustration or like suffering state. We talked about that in the past. Very important rule, so you don't make a mistake. All the mistakes are made from fear, from, FOMO or fear, right? Fear of losing out or fear of losing, either or, right? Rule number, by the way, just giving you a few rules. This would not be the only rules, but some people are going to ask what are the rules, right? So rule number 3, have a trading plan. So you need a plan, right? Like, what is your plan to win? In absence of a plan, you're always going to lose money. Like right now, some of you are invested. Do you have a trading plan? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you have no trading plan. Then There's an old saying: if you fail to plan, you fail to plan, right? You plan to fail. Sorry. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's basically what it says. So you're probably going to lose money if you don't have a plan, and we want to have a great plan. So what does that mean, guys? The fastest and easiest way. Okay, let's erase that. The fastest and easiest way to have an effective plan in trading is to model successful plan. Success. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. So who's successful at trading and what is their plan, and you want to model that plan. Does that make sense? So number 4, always be prepared for the worst. What is the, billionaires think that way. What is the best case? What is the worst case? You don't want to think positive. A lot of people think everything's going to be okay, but it's not going to be okay. You always have to think, what am I going to do if it crashes? And of course, at different stages, that's more of a concern. As you get later into the bull cycle, the higher the price Bitcoin goes, the more risk that you have, right? If you're bought it at the green zone, and later this week, we'll talk about the bull cycle, okay? So you can understand that. But always be prepared for the worst so you can handle it. The worst thing you can do is you can't afford to lose, then you're more afraid, right? Okay, key number 3, imagine winning every day. One of the things that I can tell you that I do every day is twice a day, in the morning, immediately when I wake up, I imagine my whole vision from what's my next most successful trade. I imagine 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I see it all the way. I imagine my dream life, how my life is going to change. You really need to spend a lot of times on imagine winning and how your life is going to change. This is part of the psychology that I think a lot of people don't do. So you want to imagine. You must learn to see yourself hitting your goals. And part of the reason this is important is because that if you don't imagine that, it's very hard to hit it. You see, I always tell people, your subconscious mind moves towards the pictures it makes. If you don't have a picture of where you're trying to get at, maybe your subconscious mind starts imagining the worst, right? Yeah. So we talked about affirmations and things like that, which I teach a lot on my channel. But you want to maybe just try it. If you're willing to do it, close your eyes and just close your eyes for 1 minute and see yourself becoming a Bitcoin billionaire, right? How does that feel for you? What do you say to yourself? Now that you've achieved that, what else do you want? What do you buy? What's your dream life? What's your lifestyle? Every morning and every time before I go to bed, I visualize vividly my entire future from, a few months, 1 month to all the way to 10 years. And I do that every day, twice a day. How many of you are doing that twice a day, right? So it seems like a small part, but I think if you're always concerned, what's the price of Bitcoin? And you don't have a vision, you're not going to do well. So unless you feel you're moving towards your goal, fear will overpower you. That's why you want to do this, right? I've been coaching a lot of people to set and achieve their goals, and very few people will actually achieve their goals if they don't keep their eyes on where they're trying to get at. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying? Can you see how important it is to have a goal in trading? And can you see how people who don't have a goal, they don't do well? Can you see that? And do you do it? Do you visualize your goals every day? That's something for you to think about. And I was on the Telegram group, which I'm going to share with you guys. If you're not on my Telegram group, make sure you join. And price started going down a bit, and somebody said, "Do I sell?" And I said, "Look, if you are always buying and selling, okay, you're going to make a lot of mistakes." All right. And if you're a new trader, you trade too much. I guarantee you. As you become a more experienced trader, you realize you make more money the less you trade. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Oh yeah, I made 10%. I made 5%. I hear that all the time. And in my opinion, you're not making good money until you know how to buy and hold it for long periods of time. Okay, so really think that that's a big part of it. Don't trade too much. Okay, yeah, already joined. Okay, great. Let me pin that for one moment here. So are you with me? Is this making sense so far? Like, you don't want to be like in yo-yo, like buying, selling, because how do you know you're buying at the right time or you're selling at the right time? There are some ways to know, and I do teach that, but a lot of people get that wrong. And I think that's one big reason why they don't do well, okay? Okay, key number 4, implementing risk management. By the way, we're talking about the psychology, right? Keep that in mind. So you must see like each coin on a scale of 1 to 10 risk. Like a lot of people don't do that right now. I think that's one reason they don't do well investing because the reason I say that. By the way, we're talking. Okay, hold on. I'll pin this here. The reason I say that is that, like, do you know how much risk ratio the Bitcoin is? Do you know how much risk ratio Ethereum is? That's one reason you want to subscribe to my channel, and also make sure you join the Telegram group so you understand the risk, because in that channel, I will share with you what the risks are. Like if I was going to ask you, right, like how much risk are you willing to take? What would you say? That's a very important question in the psychology part. There are some people who are not willing to take a lot of risk. There are people with medium risk, and some people take a high risk. So where are you at in your risk ratio? Are you a high risk? Are you a medium risk? Or are you a low risk? Put in a comment so I know, get an idea where you guys at, right? Like if you're not willing to take a high risk, then should know what your risk ratio is. But here's the thing. The more risk you're willing to take, right? The more you're willing to take a risk, then the more you can lose, especially if you don't know how to trade, like especially if you're brand new. So this is a big part, right? Because a lot of people don't know how to trade yet because they're brand new and they're taking too much risk. So that's one point. The less risk you take, another big point, right? So the less risk you take, then the less you're going to earn, the less profit. So less risk, less profit, less you're going to earn. You know, you can't expect to make a 10x if you don't take any risk. Okay? And yeah, so here's some answer to your question here. So he says low risk. So if you're willing to take a low risk, then probably you should not buy Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is at a high risk right now. Ethereum is a low risk, 6 out of 10, right? You know, Bitcoin is risky right now. I can tell you that. High risk, yeah. See, timing is everything. Like people don't know which, do I buy an altcoin? Do I buy Bitcoin? Do I buy Ethereum? Like this is one of the reasons you want to learn how to trade based on your risk ratio. Okay, so because do you know what the risk of Bitcoin right now is? Do you know what the risk of Ethereum is? So join my Telegram group if you want to learn that. Like you need to understand what's a high risk, what's a low risk. So join Telegram group. We'll talk about that. Okay. So each coin has different risks. Some have more than others. But if you ask me which one should I buy now, right now I'm heavily invested in Ethereum. And one of the reasons I'm invested in Ethereum is because Ethereum has less risk. Okay. So it's less risk, but has a high potential, I would say like that. Okay. So has a high potential, but less risk. And that's what we're looking for. Less risk and more return. Okay. So does that make sense to you? Right? That's why I invest in Ethereum. Okay. I also have altcoins. Altcoins, believe it or not, are less risky than Bitcoin right now because we're about to enter the altcoin season, right? Hit the like button, guys. More knowledge here. Facts. Great. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about key number 5. See the truth versus subjective pricing. And that's an important point. Right? That's an important point because a lot of people say, I believe Bitcoin's going to be 300,000, right? Like, I'll give you an example. This guy right in the beginning, he asked me, right? He said, what do you think about Bitcoin at the end of 2021? And I want you to understand there's a difference between the truth. Do your beliefs about price prevent you from seeing the truth? Okay? And that's an important point because if you believe it's going to be 75, you're not looking at the truth. You're filtering the truth through your beliefs. And there's a big difference, okay, between your belief and truth. Truth leads to wisdom, okay? And so if you don't know what the truth is and you're putting your like belief, and this is where I really don't like a lot of YouTube channels, because they are making big claims. They're saying like, oh my God, ADA's gonna be like $1,000, right? And like, where did they come up with that? Like, is it really true? And I think that the whole, and you tell me if you agree with me, but the entire industry in the cryptocurrency is making some pretty big promise. Like I've seen crazy claims, like Ethereum's going to be 100,000. Like, where the hell did you get that? And that's a belief, not a fact, right? And this is, don't let your beliefs distort the truth. There's a difference between belief and truth. A lot of times people say, I think Bitcoin's going to be 300K, right? Let's say, right? So I say, well, what's the evidence? Because if you believe Bitcoin's going to be 300,000, okay, where did you come up with that number? Where did you come up? Because you need evidence to have a belief. So one of the things that people think is true is what they believe. But beliefs should be based on sound evidence. You see, so I'll be very careful about what you believe about price. It has to be evidence, okay? So, and a lot of beliefs, sometimes, you know, they're not logical. It's not based on logical evidence. It's just like, do you believe that some YouTuber told you it's going to be a really high price, right? And that's part of the problem. So again, there's a big, that your beliefs have to be based on fact, right? Which is what the truth is, instead of the perception. And unfortunately, a lot of times into the crypto industry, I feel anyway, is that the price prediction is based on the perception, and is based on feeling or hope, not based on fact, right? So one of the things that I think that in the psychology of trading is that we don't want to think like that. Instead, we want to base our prediction of price based on very, very, very important facts, which is what understanding trading is all about. And that's where indicators come in, right? That's where you're learning how to analyze the price, understanding, the different bull cycle and how long and what is the highest price it can go. You need to have a lot of logic there. And it's one of the reasons people don't make money, because they don't understand the difference between fact and perception. Okay, guys, that's all I have to teach you today. Any questions about what I've taught you? But basically, please, if you like what you learned, please subscribe to our channel and to learn more about that. The next one, we will be talking about indicators, okay? And how, last time we already talked about that, but yeah, so just some point for you guys to look at in the psychology of trading. Listen, at the end of the day, right, if your brain is the thinking mechanism behind your investment. So one of the most important thing I want to leave you with here today, if you don't have a question, is, we do have one question, is like, how do you know you're right? How do you know you're right? And how do you know you're not wrong, right? So thinking is part of what a trader does. The better you are at thinking, and unfortunately, schools don't teach that. Parents don't really teach us how to think. So a lot of our thinking is based on feeling and not fact. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So a great trader, they don't make a decision based on emotion. They make a decision based on fact and evidence about price prediction, which is called technical analysis, which tomorrow I'm going to come back and talk about that. So how do we ascertain the risk level of a coin? Okay. And the answer is by technical analysis, right? You have to understand technical analysis. So please come back tomorrow. We'll go in a session part 2 of technical analysis to help you understand that. Okay. I want you to talk about business. Okay, maybe next time. Okay, this is a Bitcoin billionaire crypto channel. 5 point. Yeah, I can go back through it if you like. Let's go through the 5 points again. Okay. So let's go back to the 5 points. I should have a summary of it, but key number 1, managing your emotions. That was the first point. Okay. Understanding fear, overcome your greed. Key number 2, setting rules. That when you lose money, you have to learn from it. In other words, the reason you lost money is because you didn't have logical rules. Okay? And these are examples of rules. Key number 3, imagine winning. You got to see yourself winning. You must learn to see yourself hitting your goals over and over again, twice a day. Unless you feel like you're moving towards your goals, it's very difficult. Fear will overpower you. You got to build emotional strength and you move towards your thoughts. Okay. Key number 4, implementing risk management. Are you high risk, medium risk, low risk? You got to know the risk of a scale 1 to 10 of each coin. How much risk are you willing to take? The more risks you take, the more you can lose, the more you can win. The less risk you take, the less you can earn. What is your risk level? What is the risk level of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins? You need to know that. See the truth versus subjective pricing, right? Do your beliefs about price prevent you from seeing the truth? Truths equal wisdom. Don't let your beliefs distort the truth about the price of Bitcoin and altcoins. Logic versus belief, fact versus perception. Okay, so that was a quick review of that. So again, how did you come up with 55? I think it probably will go up to 55, right? But again, the reason I'm invested in Ethereum instead of Bitcoin is because on a logical level, Ethereum is a lower risk than Bitcoin. That's what I'm saying. Do you understand risk, right? I'm not even investing in Bitcoin as a trader right now. I'm invested in Ethereum. Okay, I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in Bitcoin, but I'm saying most of my investment is in Ethereum. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate you saying that. Best YouTube channel. Thank you. Appreciate you saying that. You're very welcome, guys. Okay, well, thank you for your great feedback. And guys, that's it for today. Yeah, make sure if you like what you hear today, subscribe to our channel. I will come back to you. And tomorrow, we're going to teach you about how to use technical analysis, okay, and come back and teach you kind of a part 2 about that. All right, guys. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Yeah, that's why we don't invest in Bitcoin. Ethereum right now is the hot coin, right? Okay, everybody. See you. Bye for now.